They're back. The monkeys are back. So many years after the reign of Caesar, we're following a character called Noah, a young ape that goes on a journey that questions everything he's been taught about the past and make choices that will define apes and humans. So I can't lie, it's been a long time since I've seen the trilogy from 2011. And I remember back then, those trilogies were amazing, so I was looking forward to seeing this movie. This movie was directed by Wes Ball. He's mainly known for the Maze Runner films, which I also like to do. I love the Maze Runner. I prefer the first one more, but that's what he's primarily known for. I was talking about the positives, what I really liked about this movie. It has a great way of starting things out and making you feel as if you've known these characters for a long period of time. So you got Noah being the main character, and he has his trio of friends per se. And you get introduced to his mom, his dad, and I guess it does a great way of making you feel like you've known these characters for a longer period of time, but it's only just one movie you've seen them. Whilst introducing the characters from the start, they don't drag it out and make the pacing suffer because of it. They kind of just get to the point, introduce the characters, they do it effectively, and then they kind of move on to the next. The next thing being is that the home gets destroyed by these other apes, and they claim to, worship Caesar, because obviously Caesar's not alive anymore in the previous films, if you've seen it, of course. And obviously the new generation, they don't know who Caesar is, so they're probably thinking who the hell are these crazy apes? But the thing that what I really liked about all these movies is that it does such a great way of making you feel tension and suspense, at least in my opinion. Every time I see something bad happen or go down in movies like Planet of the Apes, I'm always thinking, are these characters gonna survive? Are they gonna die? What's gonna happen next? And essentially, Noah's village gets destroyed, his dad gets got, and you have this main antagonist, this gorilla guy. He's not the main guy, but he's kind of seen as the main antagonist for Noah. My God, that guy was scary. It's just so wild to me how I'm talking about this movie, whereas most of the characters in this whole movie are literally CGI apes. But through the gestures, through the facial expression, through the emotions, they do a great way of making you feel like these are human characters, and you feel empathy towards these apes that are, in danger, even though they're just literally apes. I think that's what's always been successful about these type of movies, the apes movies, is it makes you care for these little characters that are not even real, which I think made the trilogy as good as it was. Whereas if they were just CGI characters with no facial expressions and it's just, dull characters, I don't think it would have been as successful as it was, which is why we're probably getting a rebooted version of this movie, because it is a sequel, but a kind of rebooted series. A rebooted version, essentially. Because it's essentially the new era of apes. Caesar's gone now. You're introduced these whole new characters, whole new villains, whole new antagonists, which I'm not against, because this movie still delivers as a great monkey movie, or ape, or whatever, same thing. Another positive, the world is so gorgeous. It literally looks like a real world, but just with apes and horses and all that stuff. And it's just amazing to me how technology nowadays kind of makes these type of movies look so great. And yeah, I like practical effects. Well, of course, in some scenarios, you need to have, CGI. And I feel like this movie is just great when it comes to that. It's almost like an open world game when you're looking at the film. It's like Red Dead, essentially. Red Dead 2, Red Dead Redemption, the first one, same thing. It just has that beautiful atmosphere to it where you can just roam around and it just looks so good to visually look at. Because this is a new generation, things are kind of different now. So more so the apes are more the leaders now, and you kind of have the humans that more so the slaves. And a lot of the humans don't know English now or can't even speak English or speak at all. So I kind of like the juxtaposition between the apes and the humans. Whereas in the first 2011 movie, the apes couldn't talk and the humans were the dominators and the leaders. And now you have in this movie where the monkeys and all apes or whatever, they're ruling the world essentially. And the humans are slaves. Which is a different spin on this sort of trilogy or series, because we're so used to seeing military people. So it's nice to see a contrast of the monkeys being the leaders and actually in charge, and the humans being the slaves this time. It's a different approach. I can't lie, when I'm watching this movie, I thought Noah was Caesar's son, because I remember seeing this poster and I'm thinking, wait, hold on, I know Caesar died in the last movie. So it's just Noah, the new guy, the son of Caesar, taking over from where he left off. But no, these are literally whole new characters, which I was kind of surprised to see. Or correct me if I'm wrong, because it's been a long time since I've seen the trilogy, but I'm assuming all these characters in this movie are literally brand new characters. And you have these apes, who believe that humans are stupid and humans are dumb now. And towards the apes, they're almost seen as an abomination to society, I guess. Because literally, when you're watching this movie, sometimes there's certain sceneries and visually when you're watching, it almost feels like an apocalyptic world. Because there's literally no humans roaming around, which is why I guess they call it Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, because literally the apes, they own the earth now, they own the whole place now, literally, so yeah. And then we're later introduced to the character called Maeve, played by Freya Allen. I've definitely seen Freya Allen a lot. I've never seen any of her movies or TV shows, but I've seen her around the block. Like, I know she was in The Witcher and other like TV shows and whatnot. She's definitely one of those actors that you kind of see recurring a lot nowadays. Kind of like Timothy, Zendaya and them sort of actors. And I thought from seeing her acting, she was good. I really liked her a lot in this movie. From watching the trailer, I could see what type of movie this was going to be. And it was that type of movie, but they delivered it really good, so I don't really have any complaints. Chemistry between Maeve and Noah is just, like, I felt like it was really great. There were certain scenes where I was tensed up because I was always on my seat. You never knew who was going to get killed or who was going to die and whatnot, because I just, in my opinion at least, I always felt like these Ape movies do such a great job, I guess, making you second guess what's going to happen next. Especially because all these apes, they look so intimidating. The gorilla antagonist was more scary to me because he was so big, and the rest were like chimpanzees. He was like the, you know, the big dog, but he was like the second in command, I guess you could say. I must have got confused because I thought that orange ape was Morris from the previous films. But I realized, oh no, he's another character. And yeah. So for me, when I was going into this movie, I wasn't really too sure what to expect because I didn't know if it was a sequel, a prequel, or what. But then you realise this is basically a reboot from the first series, but it's still a sequel. But I do feel like Noah looks too much like Caesar, which is not negative, but it kind of put me off. I'm thinking, this ain't Caesar. That's why I wasn't sure if that was his kid or not, growing up and whatnot. So you got Maeve and Noah and the Orange Monkey kind of going on this sort of journey, both having their different reasons for why they're doing what they're doing. And whilst on the journey, they also encounter, you know, problems with the, you know, the antagonist, which is what made the movie what it was. Like, without the antagonist, there's no movie in this film. Like, I mean, that's what it's always been about though. These all antagonist monkeys that are going against the main, you know, protagonist. But boy, man, if I was in that world, man, I would be scared as hell, man. Like, these terrifying apes that can literally speak, like, that is wild to me, man. And I think what makes the apes so great is that they almost humanize them to the point where they feel sometimes more human than the humans themselves, which makes the apes better characters because the facial expressions, I'm telling you, man, like, I don't know, man, it's just wild to me. Because I'm watching this movie thinking, like, why do I care so much about these apes I don't even know about? Especially how this is like a whole new spin-off, or not spin-off, but reboot, whatever. And I don't know anything about these characters. Yet I'm already so invested in all these characters. I want them to live and survive. Maybe kind of added to that element as a human. Because to be honest, I don't think there was really much humans in this movie. Majority of the characters in this movie were like apes and stuff, so not much humans you really saw in this movie, to be fair. Yeah, Kevin Durant, he's back, he's back. You know what, Kevin Durant in this movie was actually good, you know. I know I said I didn't like him in Abigail, but in this movie he played like the sort of main antagonist. Not a lot you can say about the character's acting, but you can speak on the voice acting, and I thought his voice was intimidating. I don't think Kevin's character was the most intimidating monkey, but he definitely added that sort of, you know, element to the movie, which I thought, you know, was good. Because I was watching it in the cinema, there were certain scenes where I was so on edge because the sound was so loud. So when you would see the apes like sprinting, I was so like tensed up because I'm thinking, you know, what's gonna happen? But then again, I kind of knew what would probably happen, but it was still tense. Which is why I like these movies, because it has cliche stuff happening. But at the same time, in my head, I'm like, what's gonna happen though? Which is weird, isn't it? Because it's like, you know what's going to happen, but they still do a great job at building the tension and suspense and making you think maybe the opposite's going to happen. I can't lie, you know, I don't really have any negatives for this movie because, like, when I'm watching it, like, after I finished watching the movie, I was kind of like, what do I have to say bad about this movie? I'm not saying there's not any negatives, but at least for me, when I was watching it, I wasn't really, you know, I thought the movie flowed really well. Like, the pacing to me was always good throughout the whole movie. I was never sitting there bored or wanting the movie to end. Like, I definitely prefer the other, you know, 2011 trilogy movies. But that doesn't mean this movie was bad, it's just that, like, I think I always prefer Caesar as like a character because he was like the first monkey to ever literally speak. And I don't know, he was just the, you know, he was the first, you know what I mean? So you can't really replace him as a character in my opinion. Not to say they was trying to replace him as a character, but I just feel like with Caesar, he's like the iconic ape monkey. But yeah, man, I think this is, for me, all positive right now. Also, yeah, the action, that was really good as well. The action mixed with the suspense made it so much better. Because the action in the Apes movies have always been good in my opinion. But I feel like these movies are predominantly like a suspense sort of movie. I mean, there's definitely action, 100%, but the suspense is what makes the action even better. But overall, if you like the other, you know, previous Ape movies, I think you would definitely love this one for sure. And I would 100% recommend you to watch it. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Anyways, that's it. Subscribe, like, comment down below, let me know what you thought about this movie. And like I said, if I watched it a second time, there probably would be some negatives that I might have. But first watching this movie, I had no complaints, if I'm being honest. That's it. See ya.